Wow. Bad news for Jaron Boots Ennis, who just signed to Eddie Hearn's rematch room. Jaron Ennis is mandatory. Cody Crowley, they just order a purse bid. Now, I know what some of you guys are thinking. Hey, Ego, how is that bad news? Well, let me explain in this video. Stay tuned to the end and I'll break it down. So the IBF, they have arranged purse bids for a match between Jaron Boots Ennis and Cody Crowley, scheduled to take place Tuesday, April 23rd. No big deal. However, the reason why I say bad news is because Cody Crowley versus Suleiman Sissoko, they already had a purse bid on April 9th to fight for WBC Eliminator. So what does this mean? And you guys see, it says the ring, Suleiman Sissoko versus Cody Crowley, WBC title eliminator purse bid won by All Star Boxing, which is a French promoter of Suleiman, right? And then now a different sanctioning body, the IBF, is ordering a purse bid for April 23rd. So basically, they've been beaten to the punch by the WBC. So what happens now? And I'm going to give you guys my insight. Come to my channel, Boxingego. Less clickbait, real boxing, real news. So we're going to have to do a bit of foreshadowing, and I'll do my best to let you know what's going on. So the WBC Eliminator, meaning a title shot should be in the near future for the winner, either Suleiman or Cody Crowley, if this contest is to go through. The purse bid has already been conducted, and the French fighter's promoter won the purse bid. So that's already set in stone. Now, we just get news yesterday that Eddie Hearn, Rematch Room, DAZN, signed Jaron Ennis to a multi-fight deal, right? Now, the very next day, we hear the IBF has ordered Jaron Ennis versus Cody Crowley. Few problems with that. Previously, there were people who did interviews with Team Ennis, and this when he was still fighting like on the PBC platform. He wasn't signed to PBC, but he was still fighting on Showtime and whatnot. But you had people in Jaron Ennis's gym, and they were interviewing him, and Team Ennis basically claimed, this is what they're claiming, that Cody Crowley ducked the fight with them and didn't want no smoke, right? So who's to say now Cody Crowley wants to fight against Jaron Boots Ennis, especially when he's a PBC fighter that works with TGB Promotion. He's a Canadian fighter that's been on PBC, and you have Suleiman, who's been fighting on DAZN, right? And he could fight a guy in Suleiman Sissoko who recently moved up to welterweight, previously is a 140 pounder, and he's going to get paid less probably than what they'll have to offer, which I'll get to in a second. But in the eyes of many boxing fans, it would be an easier fight. Also, let me add this. Mario Barrios is fighting Fabian Maidana, Marcos Maidana's brother, in May on Canelo Alvarez's undercard. So what does this mean? This means that if Cody Crowley does not go forth with the Jaron Boots Ennis fight, then he can fight the purse bid that's already been won for a WBC Eliminator, and he will likely get a fight with Mario Barrios and the Fabian Maidana and fight the winner of that if he wins versus Suleiman Sissoko. So that's the conundrum we're in. Does Cody Crowley fight a more dangerous fight in terms of Jaron Ennis for what I believe Eddie Hearn's going to have to break out that pocketbook and overpay Cody Crowley to make that fight? You get me? Because why would Cody Crowley, if it's not significantly more money than fighting against the Sissoko dude or whatever, then why would he fight a dangerous option? So for me, that stipulates you're going to have to probably 2x double his pay or triple his pay or whatever number makes him comfortable in order to have him fight a very dangerous Jaron Boots Ennis, especially if they do it in Philly, which is rumored that Jaron Ennis's next fight very well could be in Philly. Or does Cody Crowley continue with the purse bid that's already won and take the easier fight, knowing that he has another big fight should he get past Sissoko? He has another big fight with potentially Mario Barrios if he wins, right? Now, per the IBF Rule 9C, Jaron Ennis and Cody Crowley are now required to honor the ordered purse bid hearing to avoid disciplinary action handed down by the sanctioning body. Any fighter who abandons the purse bid process or does not honor the outcome will receive a demotion in the rankings, plus a 6-month probation period where they cannot participate in an IBF sanctioned fight. But these disciplinary actions, they're calling them, what does that really mean if you don't forego the IBF purse bid? You're doing it for a reason, most likely. And henceforth, with Cody Crowley, if he didn't go through with the IBF purse bid to fight Jaron Ennis, which I'm not saying he will or won't, because as of me recording this video, we haven't heard from Cody Crowley on what he wants to do. But the point I'm making is, who cares about disciplinary action like of that sort if you're going a different route? You're going the WBC route. So you wouldn't care about your rankings and not being able to fight in an IBF title fight for 6 months. I mean, what is that? That doesn't even make sense. That would be like you already put your 2 weeks in for a job and your last day is Friday, and they say, hey, if you come in late, we're going to write you up. I mean, what is a write-up if you know you're leaving the job and you're not going to be there? It doesn't really hurt you because obviously you have another job lined up. So the write-up is not going to prevent you from calling out sick again or whatever the case may be. Interestingly, Cody Crowley found himself in a position to challenge for the title after he previously violated those very terms. So they're saying the IBF pretty much broke their own rules and it still allowed Crowley to potentially get a title fight even if he broke these rules previously. He once again is pressed with the decision to make between this fight and the WBC ordered eliminator versus Sissoko, right? It goes on to say Crawford was immediately ordered to next face Jaron Boots Ennis. The negotiation period did not come with any talks between the camps. Terrence Crawford's side instead informed the IBF that they were contractually tied to a rematch with Errol Spence. Such clauses are not recognized by the IBF, who then stripped Terrence Crawford of the title. So that's the origin story of how Jaron Boots Ennis came into possession of that IBF belt. So it's going to be very interesting to see, because right now it's looking like all eyes on Cody Crowley. People are saying that he ducked Jaron Ennis before. So what's it to him to fight the purse bid against Suleiman Sissoko, right? Unless and this is just my estimation, unless Eddie Hearn is willing to throw a lot of money at him and pretty much buy his O, because he's an undefeated fighter, you know, and basically buy his O, because most people would favor Jaron Ennis to beat Cody Crowley at this point. And to get that done, I believe it requires Eddie Hearn and DAZN to open up that purse book and just overall overpay Cody Crowley more than his worth to get him, because he already has an option. You see what I'm saying? Like, a guy already has an option where he could fight someone totally different that's safer and easier, and then beating that guy would lead to you fighting on the network you're already fighting on versus Mario Barrios, who I think would probably beat Fabian Maidana. But again, we have to wait and see on the Canelo Munguia card. So for me, this spells trouble for bad news or spells bad news and trouble for Jaron Ennis, because even with the new promoter, it sounds like you very well could be in the same position that you were before, with like middle of the road type of names and fights. The best wild card fight is if Terrence Crawford decided to do business, or if they could cash, give Terrence Crawford the cash that he's looking for to fight Jaron Ennis. But to me, I wouldn't hold my breath on that, because I believe Crawford is moving up to 54, where he has different options for different reasons, like Madrimov, right? Maybe even Boachuk, or possibly Fundora, based on the WBO being the WBO super champion. I've already made several videos about that. So we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. But the fact that Cody Crowley has two different separate directions that he can go the IBF route. And if he doesn't go the IBF route, like I said, what are those penalties and disciplinary actions if you decided to go the WBC route? They don't really hurt you, because you're making the decision to not fight for the IBF belt, basically, right? So he could go the IBF route, he can go the WBC route. But for me to take a bigger, Jaron Ennis is big. He's a big welterweight, powerful switch hitter, and people are saying that Cody Crowley already ducked him. So to make that happen, I would imagine, I'm not the smartest brother in the world, but I would imagine that's going to cost Eddie Hearn, and he's going to have to come out of pocket to the point where it probably doesn't make sense. Like, and we've seen certain people do that. We've seen DAZN specifically do this, where they'll overpay to get somebody in the ring or whatever. Like, they probably had to overpay Julio Cesar Chavez to fight Danny Jacobs in Arizona, and the amount that both fighters demanded was probably more than what you would want to pay for a fight like that. But we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out.